Alright, good afternoon guys. I'm going to try and do a quick video of how to set up the new little hobbymate HB800 flybarless unit of my Gaui 425. This one's already set up, but people seem to have some questions. Sorry, I'm outside. Anyways, here we go, and there's the little unit. So first things first, safety first. Before you set this up, make sure you unplug your motor, which I've done. And speaking of radios, well, actually I'll speak of radios. What we're going to do is, first things you have to do is set up your radio to where it has no mixing whatsoever. Standard, just plain standard one servo type setup. The next thing we'll do, excuse me, gotta set the camera down, we'll power up the little helicopter. And we'll wait for the unit to go, which you ought to see the little LEDs going, zippity doo dah. And then you'll see the blades flip. That tells you the unit's initialized right now. Okay, basic setups. Okay, first things first, push and hold the set button. Make sure you can see. Little ALD will flash, keep holding it until it goes solid. You're now in parameter A, and this is setting up. Parameter A is basically mode of operation. What it's going to do is it's either going to be a flybarless unit or a tail gyro. If our status light, which I hope you can see, and it is blue, right here's our status light, blue is set up for flybarless. Parameter B, push it once, it goes to B. Now we're in setup as to what the orientation of the unit. Blue is set up for flat, which I have it. Next, C. This is your swash plate frequencies on your servos. Mine are at 200 kilohertz, which is blue, or 200 hertz, I'm sorry, which is blue, so we're good. Next is D. This is your tail servo input or impulse. 1520 is mine, which were blue. And if you have to change any of this, you just move the rudder stick one way or another and the servo will change. Next is E. E is once again your tail servo frequency. Blue is 333. I've got a Futaba servo in here. I looked it up online and it is at 333. BStex Online, they have a good list of all the servos and frequencies that they run at. Okay, F. F is actually your tail servo endpoint adjust. So I'll show you how that works. And I got my radio here. And what we do is we move the tail servo all the way one direction till it binds, stop, and you'll see the LED flashes. Go all the way the other way till it stops, and then LED flashes and changes again. And that's set. Neighbor's dogs sound like they're getting killed. Alright, point G. Point G is our tail sensor direction, normal or reverse. And what that does is that gives you the direction. If you move it this way, it should pull that way. I don't know if you can see it, but it's actually moving. And I've got it set up to change it once again. You just move the stick to adjust it. Point H. This is your swash plate neutral point. Now this is where you can actually adjust each one of the servos individually to get your swash plate level, or if you need to have zero pitch or increase your pitch, because everything right now, the pitch stick has no adjustment. I'm moving it, nothing's going on. So really, if everything's set perfectly, let me get my pitch gauge and I'll throw it on here real quick. kind of difficult doing it one-handed. If everything's set correctly, well, let me get this blades tracked around. You always go the length of it. And if I've done my job correctly, I ought to be close to 0 pitch, which is about right where I'm at. I don't know if you can see that or not. So, but you can actually adjust each one using the tail to adjust it. Point I, now this is our mixing. And what this mixing is flashing red is basically 120. And your purple or blue is 140. Off, nothing is mechanical mixing, that's your radio doing it. And then purple is 90. I let the unit do it at 120, so I leave that there. Point J. Now point J is actually where you teach the helicopter where 6 degrees is. So on the pitch stick, I get this back where we were. And what we're doing here is we actually move it till we get a 6 degree change. Right there. And that is our 6 degree change. And then we push our next input. And our next input is collective pitch limits, which is point K. That gives us our negative and our full positive, which I'll reset that a little bit later. Well, our negative actually isn't quite enough. We're at about 9, so we'll actually increase that a bit. There's 10, about 10 or 11 negative, and about 12 positive. We'll take a little bit of that out, and that's pretty good right there. And then point L is our swash plate travel. That'll allow us to adjust how much travel we have in all our swash plate. And then the M is our swash plate direction. Basically what that does is, as we tilt the helicopter, we want the swash plate to follow it, which it's doing correctly right there. And then last but not least, point N is our pirouette optimization. This one always confuses a lot of people. Confused me for a long time too. If we look at the direction of the swash plate, it's pointing towards a table down here. If I pick the helicopter up and pirouette it, this ball should always point in that direction. Actually, you're supposed to rotate the helicopter, which is hard to do. But if you look, it's still going in that direction. And then, boom. That's it. It is all set up. Now, to change your actual parameters on how everything acts, your compensation, your head locking gain, and your control behavior, push your set button again as soon as it flashes. A is swash plate neutral. B is a control behavior. I'm in a flashing red, which is sport mode. And then your C is the actual collective pitch comp. I'm in medium. And then D, once again, is head locking gain. I'm in medium. And that's basically it. I know it's quick. If you got any questions, let me know. I'm going to go put it up and see how it flies.